Hey guys, it's katiejuly. I got two personal messages from really recent post-offers, one of whom I've been chatting with a little bit before, and they are both really struggling. I sat down to write messages, and then I feel like I either am writing a novel or it seems like I slip into kind of platitudes of like, it'll get better, it's worth it. So I thought, oh, I'll just come on and make a response video really quickly. And I don't want to say their names in case they don't want people to know what's going on or whatever. Privacy. Sorry that I look a wreck. I'm not going to go to work after this, and I just don't have time to blow dry my hair. So this is what you get today. But basically, one of them is saying that she's having a really hard time with the mental part of the surgery, right now being post-op, and basically all of the emotions and everything that she's been hiding underneath a chocolate bar for the last however many years, she suddenly has to deal with it, and she's finding it really hard. And the other one had watched one of my recent videos in which I said, the surgery totally saved my life and is the best decision I ever made, which I still agree with. And she asked, well, is that how you felt right after surgery? Because she's having a hard time with it as well. And so I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and I kind of went back and looked at some of my first videos, and I think that I had two distinct moments of really struggling for me. And the first one was right after surgery. It was within that first week. And I think part of maybe the reason that you don't see it as much in my first week post-op video is because it was really exciting. It was really exciting to have gone through it and to have survived and to feel like everything was going to be different. But surgery was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and I knew I could get through it, but I sort of thought it would be I would get through it the day of, and then I would be sore for a day, and then I would be fine. Like, I don't know why that was my, picture of healing, and actually healing was a ton slower. And the first week out, I was out of pain pretty quickly, but I remember just feeling like, my whole middle section from my neck to my knees was like this foreign area to me suddenly. Like, I didn't really know what had happened. I did, but it felt like, aliens had come in and just like rearranged stuff, and I didn't know what was going on, and, it wasn't comfortable to lay down, and I couldn't sleep on my stomach, which is how I like to sleep. And I remember my mom was here, and, maybe the third or fourth day I'd been home, and the third or fourth day after surgery, so I was home, and I was just feeling so just like not right in my body. And what I normally do to comfort myself is I eat. Stressful day at work, happy day at work, whatever, I eat tons and tons and tons of food and sort of self-medicate and comfort that way. And I remember feeling like not only could I not do that, but at that point I was too nervous really to eat anything. I was eating baby food. And just feeling like I couldn't even drink water without thinking about it. And, I didn't actually throw a temper tantrum, but I feel like emotionally it was totally a temper tantrum. And I was like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to myself to suddenly, rip away the security blanket that I'd, woven and built and shrouded myself in for 26 years? The reality is that's a straitjacket. It's not a security blanket, and you're totally limiting your life by living that way. And I didn't realize it. And you don't realize it right away when it's gone, but now I do. So that was sort of the initial week, and it took a long time for me to feel like I was back to my normal energy levels. I know I made a video about that, just 4 weeks out, still feeling like I could go and go and go in, and then suddenly need to sit down, like I was ailing or like I was elderly, and I just was ready for the surgery to be done. You know what I mean? Like the surgery to be behind me and me to be back to my usual self, and that took a few weeks. And the other thing that happened right around week 3 or 4, which for me is when I transitioned from soft foods, pureed foods to more solid foods. And I think part of this is just I leapt into the deep end of the pool a little bit quickly. I went and saw my nutritionist for 1 month, and she was like, okay, here's a list of things you can have, pretty much anything. You want to start off with chicken and then go to beef and whatever. And I think realistically I probably should have been introducing one new food every few days. And instead I was suddenly like, I can have scallops and I had scallops. And then the next day I can have sausage, and I would have sausage. And I was throwing up a lot. And now I really don't throw up. I'd say I throw up now less than once a month. And it has to be like, I can't even think what it has to be. Like I really eat too much, because I also can overeat and I will not throw up. Or I just eat something, like I still don't eat steak. I'm just a little bit afraid of it. It seems like impossible to chew enough for me. But anyway, now I throw up very, very rarely. But at, weeks 4 and 5, essentially, when I was making that transition, I threw up at work, which sucked, had to go home. I was throwing up, I want to say every few days, every other day. And a huge part of it, which made it, for me, really traumatic, was that when I throw up, it's not like throw up and it's over. It would be like a 4-hour ordeal. Like, I'm not even joking, where I would just, have the pressure and feel really sick. Oh, my God, I remember Thanksgiving. We went to Philadelphia, and that was, right in this little transition for me. It was 4 weeks out, and just being in that hotel room, like, bent over the sink, wanting the pressure to go away, but not wanting to throw up, and, it just is hours. Like, it's hours of agony for me. So after 2 weeks of that, a week and a half of that, of feeling like walking on eggshells is what I was eating, I remember, in particular, one night being like, what did I do to my body? Like, this, I really, really, truly thought that was going to be my life from now on. And I know some people still struggle, years out with a long list of food intolerances. I'm really lucky that I don't. But I remember at 4 weeks out thinking, this is my life now. Like, I went from having, no significant health problems. I was, insulin resistant, and I have PCOS and higher blood pressure and higher cholesterol, but not anything immediately pressing, and I could eat whatever I wanted, and to suddenly feeling like, this is my life. Like, I am just going to be walking on eggshells with everything I eat. I'm going to be in the bathroom twice a week for hours throwing up. Like, what did I do to myself? And is this worth it? And that got totally better. My body adjusted more and more and more, and I learned how to, go slower with introducing new foods, and now I really can eat pretty much anything. But the other thing is that I feel like all of the trade-offs started happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the beginning for me, I weighed 297 pounds, and felt miserable and felt exhausted and felt like I couldn't have my comfort blanket, and I still weighed almost 300 pounds. Now I feel like, okay, flipping through the food magazine the other day, I saw coconut cupcakes and had a flicker of being sad, oh, cupcakes. And it's like, but now I weigh 180 pounds. And it's like, okay, cupcakes. I will trade, 110 pounds myself to not eat a cupcake. No problem. But I feel like, running, I know, one of the people who messaged me was talking about how she can't wait to feel good about moving her body and to be running. And it's like, there's no way you could have told me that 2 weeks post-op. Like, oh, don't worry. However crappy you feel right now, it'll be okay because you'll like to run soon. Like, I probably would have punched you, But now I do like running, and now I feel like it's worth it. So I feel like it's almost like we have surgery because things are so bleak, because it feels like we can't do it without the surgery. And it's almost, I feel like it's almost that things have to get a little bit darker before they get way better. Because you go through the pain and the discomfort and the trial and error and the learning everything and the learning where to put all that emotional stuff. If you don't have that security blanket or that straitjacket, you have to relearn all of that, and you have to start relearning it at 300 pounds or at however much you weigh when you have the surgery. And, it's not for a few months. For me, I feel like I had 50 pounds lost before I started to feel like I could see the difference. I think I lost almost 50 pounds before I went down a size in pants, partly because I was so sausaged into my pants, but just because the sizes take a long time, and it's a lot to deal with before you start feeling like I can be a different person. Like, I can totally be a different size and shape and lifestyle. So really, really rambly. I hope that helps a tiny bit. If either of you want to message me again, I will try to write back and not just make videos, I promise. Hope everyone else is having a good week.